Hey there, my name is Trevor, and today I'll be narrating the story of Rachel Bennett, a woman whose near-death experience was not like the most. In her time on the other side, she met a dog in heaven that had a unique mission to fulfill. This event changed Rachel, and she shared astounding revelations about life and what truly matters in our existence. Before we get started, make sure to leave a comment with your name and city for good luck. With that said, let's listen to Rachel's story. When I was 9, my cousin and I loved to play together. We spent a lot of time together at the river near his house. It was a spot where many stories were told. We would sometimes bring snacks with us to eat while we played by the water. We chose to go back to the river on a very hot summer afternoon. We came across a lost dog while we were playing. It looked like it was only hungry and not dangerous, so I gave it a piece of bread. But much to my surprise, the dog lunged at me. I fell because I was scared, and it pinned me down and bit me over and over. I felt like a rag doll that couldn't get away from its strong teeth. I was scared and confused because I didn't know why the dog attacked so badly. I later learned that it had rabies and that its owner had left it behind. The dog began to bite my neck, and I could feel the skin about to come off. It wasn't possible for my cousin to get the dog off because he was too small. I thought, "This is it," as the dog's teeth got close to my face again. "Today I'm going to die here." The dog stopped, though, all of a sudden. It felt like something was off. It raised its head and looked off in a certain direction, which made me wonder what was going on. Then, out of the blue, I heard someone say, "Kick it with your foot." I didn't know where the voice was coming from, but I knew I had to do something. I pushed off with my foot and kicked the dog very hard. At that very moment, I felt very strong. The dog took off and landed far away from me. For a grown man, it seemed impossible to kick something that high. I felt like I had just done something magical. I had no idea where the voice came from, but I was sure it was God. It had saved my life. I didn't feel much pain when I stood up. My cousin was ready to help me get home, so we took the road we knew. We got closer to the house and saw my family running toward us from afar. My dad was holding a shotgun, and their faces showed that they were scared. I let them know I was okay when they got to us. Still, my dad insisted on taking me to the hospital, where they quickly bandaged me up. After that, we went back home. When I woke up the next morning, my throat felt funny and bad. Even though my mom gave me a glass of water, I felt a strange fear as soon as I saw it. I couldn't even bring myself to touch it, let alone drink it. Soon I was soaked in sweat and I couldn't stop my body from shaking. My dad got ready to take me to the hospital again when he saw that things were getting worse. I can still see myself lying in the back seat with my head on my mother's lap, my mind a mess and pain running through my body. It was clear that my mom was scared as she held my hand and softly said my name. During that painful 30-minute drive, I fought to stay awake because I knew it was my only chance. I told myself over and over, I can't die. But it felt like each second of life was passing away. I was taken right to the emergency room when we got to the hospital. I could not stop shaking as I lay in the cold bed. Doctors were busy all around me, but my vision was getting worse all the time. When I opened my eyes again, I was outside of my body. It felt like I was floating above and seeing myself lying on the bed. I was shocked when the pain went away. A strange and disturbing feeling came over me. I realized I might be dead at that point. Right away, I thought about my mom and my family. I was in the hospital hallway in the blink of an eye, seeing my mom crying, her heart broken. So badly did I want to tell her I was okay and comfort her, but I couldn't find the words. I waved my arms in front of her to make her feel my presence, but it didn't work. I felt like I had no control. Then the doubt set in. Am I really dead? How do I get back? A lot of thoughts were going through my head like, where am I now? Where am I going? I was in a tunnel all of a sudden. I couldn't see anything around me because the darkness was so thick. But as I went up, the tube got brighter and brighter. It made me feel like I was shooting up, like a rocket taking off. I was floating in a sea of clouds when I got to the top. In front of me were 3 huge golden gates covered in gems of every color you can think of. The biggest gem was about the size of a car, I couldn't even tell where these gates stopped because they were so big. I was amazed by how grand and beautiful they were. I felt like I had entered a strange and wonderful place. I was interested, so I walked to the closest gate and went inside. What I saw inside made me speechless. It looked like a huge zoo, and it was full of animals I had never seen before. A monkey was making funny faces at me, and an elephant with huge ears was chewing on a tree branch. There were also smaller animals that were cute and nice, but I didn't know what their names were. As I thought about everything, I felt something coming up behind me. When I quickly turned around, I saw a huge lion looking at me. At first, I was scared, but when I looked into its eyes, I felt love and kindness that I hadn't expected. I began to calm down slowly. I knew that the lion stood for authority and power, and that it was a sign of something bigger, like in Christianity. The lion walked up to me with great ease and strength, and in a deep voice it said, "Welcome to heaven, my friend." I was shocked when I realized I could understand what the lion was saying, so I asked, "How can I talk to you?" "Because you are now in heaven, a place with no limits or boundaries," the lion replied. "Every life here is filled with divine power, even our language." "So do all animals go to heaven?" I asked again, interested. The animal said yes. "Yes, friend. No life is lost. All are saved and made right. All living things are valued in this holy place." At that very moment, I saw a sheepdog running toward me from afar. I knew it right away, even from far away. It was my childhood pet, and there was a clear gray spot on its ear. I've had this dog since I was born. When I was 7, it died. We had grown up together, and I cried for days. I even blamed my dad for not taking it to the hospital. Seeing my favorite dog again made me remember those good times. I put my arms around it, and the smell of it made me feel warm. I told it I missed it a lot. It spoke, which surprised me. Even though I knew I was in heaven, it still shocked me to hear my dog talk. I was thankful for all the love and care I gave it, but it told me its job was done, and it had to leave me when it was time. It gently told me not to blame my dad, because every life, whether it's human or animal, has its own set of goals. Its body slowly started to fuzz and disappear into the air as it talked. I saw that everything around me was going away too, and the scene began to fade away. All of a sudden, a bright light showed up to my left. As soon as I saw it, I was filled with a deep love that made me feel at peace and full. Then I heard a man's voice. It was a quiet voice that said, "Your time is up." As I looked around, I asked, "Who are you? What do you mean?" It said, "It's time to go back." "I don't want to go back," I said. "I want to stay in this loving place." He told me, "Your mom needs you," which was a reason I couldn't ignore. I knew right then that I had to go back for the sake of my family. It was the next morning when I opened my eyes and I was lying in a hospital bed. When I looked out the window, I saw Jesus dressed in white. There was a bright light all around him, and love and knowledge were shining in his eyes. His golden brown hair and beard sparkled, and his smile made me feel very calm. It felt like he was supporting the choice I had made. My mom walked into the room right then. I jumped up and asked her, "Did you see Jesus in the window?" She said she hadn't seen anything and looked worried, which made me think I might have been seeing things. I wasn't sure what she meant when she spoke. I thought, could it really have been a hallucination? But everything seemed so real. Although it's been many years since that day, I can still remember everything about it like it was yesterday. After I turned 40, I volunteered for an animal protection organization. It was there that I really understood how much animals need our help, even more than people do. That's not possible for them. We can protect ourselves. The group's main goal is to save animals whose owners have left them and are no longer able to survive on their own. These animals need our help to stay alive. While I was there, I saw a lot of animals who were being abused or neglected, but I also saw a lot of animals who were healing and getting better. One story in particular stuck with me deeply. I remember seeing a stray dog in the middle of nowhere, curled up in a corner with cuts from being beaten. We moved slowly toward it, trying to show that we didn't mean any harm. But the dog stayed wary, and its eyes were filled with mistrust. I noticed that it had been left alone for a long time and had grown hostile toward people as a result. We had to be patient and wait a long time, but in the end, it trusted us. After getting the dog used to us, we took it to the hospital for care after giving it food and water. With care and time, it slowly started to get used to its new home. The fear in its eyes went away, and it made happy noises and wagged its tail. As soon as the dog was fully better, we started looking for a good home for it. Eventually, a kind person took it in and gave it a life full of peace and the warmth of people. Because of this, I want to ask everyone, please don't hurt animals. Instead, think about getting a pet and making them feel safe and like they fit in your family. We should all be able to give every animal the love and care they need to live in this world.